like, this is
out.
not the right, what did we do? We made a mistake.
Did you ask him about James Bond?
He just kind of just started talking about it.
Did he?
Yeah, some were fake.
Just say they're real.
They're all real. Everything's real. A piece of gum.
Yeah.
Someone's left their gum on the table. Look at that. Is it you?
Someone very famous, probably.
Yeah. I wonder who's
Put that on
who's
eBay
in here
afterwards.
last.
Get a bit of money for that. Drew Starkey.
Harris.
How are you, mate?
Good to see you. We met, a couple weeks ago?
We did, yeah.
We stopped mid-conversation because we were like,
briefly.
let's save it.
Yeah, because we knew we were talking.
Yeah.
So we saved it, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm a bit full up. I had a lot of pancakes this morning. I treated myself. Do you know what I mean?
Where are you staying?
Somewhere here. I don't know. I like to stay at different places. I know like certain people always have like a spot they go to, but I always like to sort of, even if I really like somewhere, I'm like, I'll try this spot, I'll try that spot.
But you're a pancake guy.
I was this morning. Yeah. How's everything been?
It's good. It's good. I'm here in LA, which is nice.
You're from North Carolina.
I'm from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing your research.
Where's it? What's that like? Tell me, because we shot a film years ago that was supposed to be set in North Carolina, and we did it
Where the crawdads sing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not from the coast. I'm from up in the mountains, kind of like southern Appalachia, Blue Ridge Mountains.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You're from North Carolina.
From North Carolina. Yeah, from North Carolina. Southern Appalachia, like up in the mountains, Asheville, North Carolina area. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
Very different though. Where did you guys shoot Crawdads?
We shot that outside of New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Did
But
you
that's
like New
why
Orleans?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's a
did.
cool
Yeah.
city.
I had a broken foot when I did that, so it was difficult to fully enjoy it and stuff. But no, I did like it. But wait, tell me a little bit more about Asheville, because is that like, in terms of the arts and our world, like what does that mean for?
You know, strangely, it's kind of a strange, I grew up in a very rural area. There's not a lot around.
Yeah.
But strangely, kind of these little communities up in the mountains are the arts are everywhere.
Right.
I grew up going to, there was theater and
really?
live music, and yeah, it's a strange, and then of course you're kind of smack dab in the middle of a national forest, like there's nothing going on. But yeah, I was constantly kind of surrounded by art and artists growing up. Without like any, there was no kind of accessibility to doing it professionally. It wasn't like that. It was kind of around us. But you grew up you from London?
I grew up in London, but I kind of grew up kind of suburbs, like the edge of East London.
Yeah.
So it was somewhat provincial somehow, even though it was only, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the tube into central London. It still had this weird little like towny, thing going on.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know. There was some exposure to the arts, but similarly wasn't like a tangible
possibility.
Yeah.
How did you start? Did you, like, at what age were you like, oh, I think I want to do this, or?
I did. So there was a local. So during summer, I don't know, how long do you guys get for like summer break?
It's like I don't know,
In the
2.5,
States?
3 months.
2.5, 3 months.
What
Okay,
about
so
you?
in the UK it's like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's a bit shorter.
Oh.
Yeah, it's short. And
That's awful.
I think my mum was like figuring out childcare, during summer, and
Yeah.
there was a local drama school that offered up like a week course every day you go in, and it was like ages 8 to 16.
Right.
And they take a load of people. It's like a weekly running school, but then once a year they do the summer school, and you go there every day, and then you come out. And so my mum sort of plonked me into that and was like, I'll leave you to that. And then I did that and really loved it, and we did like Greece and a load of different stuff.
You did Greece?
We did Greece, yeah.
Do you remember who you played?
All of the boys just played Danny, and all of the girls played Sandy. It was like, there wasn't like a whole, it was kind of just, we did a few numbers from Greece.
Right.
And so I guess there was a certain point where I thought maybe And I never really loved the like singing and dancing. I never really felt that comfortable doing that, but I did it because I thought you had to do all three of them.
Right.
You know, like it was
to be
like
a triple threat.
yeah, you got to do that. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh God, I guess I better. And then I got a bit older, and I was doing it as like a weekly
Right.
hobby, you know, outside of school. Really loved it in school. I think it was like the only subject I kind of focused in on, maybe.
Yeah.
The rest I was pretty crap at. And then yeah, I kind of got more and more into it. I did a few plays and started to understand why I loved it so much and found my feet, and probably like a lot of people, maybe similar to yourself, like find confidence in it, find your tribe a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yes. I say this to everyone. I was like, I think everyone should take an acting class or a theater class. It was instrumental in kind of shaping who I am as a person and kind of giving myself a sense of confidence.
Yeah.
I was a pretty shy kid, and I think like just the exercise of whatever, getting up on stage or, doing it in front of your friends and embarrassing yourself and, playing Danny from Grease.
Yeah.
It's like, it's important, it's stretching yourself. So yeah, it was the same. I think it was the same for me.
How did you get into it? Was there like a local...
Very similar, honestly. It's through school, being in school plays around the age of like 10 or 11. And again, was just kind of thrown into it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. But I think very quickly found something that felt at home and like kind of felt natural in a way. I was like, oh, this is something that I like to do. And you just looked at it as a hobby, for years. Just did it through school, and then. But I ended up going to. I went to college, and I had no idea what I wanted to do.
What course were you on?
It was just liberal. It was just I was getting all my. I don't know how it works in the UK, but you can get all your gen eds out of the way.
Right.
So just take your history classes and anthropology and whatever your one math course.
Right.
So I got all that done. And there was a course it was like acting for non-majors, and I was like, great, I just want to be on, just want to do it. I want to be in an acting class, It's fun. And I had a teacher, a Brenda Lilly, who brought me into her office, and she was like, they had a program, like, you need to audition for the program, I think you can do this. I was like, oh. Yeah. It was the first time anyone had ever, that kind of opened the door for me to be like, okay, I guess I'll go for it. I mean, when did things like for you start to feel like oh, I have like I can do someone will pay me to do it,
Well, weirdly similar to what you just said about someone in particular. Like I was in the Marine Cadets for years, as a kid.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know if you have that here. It's like they have a cadet force for kids that are interested in maybe joining the military
in the States.
Yeah. So I did that for like 4 years.
Oh shit.
I don't know, I just enjoyed it, probably because I was just acting. Like I just enjoy being,
right.
Pretending to be a soldier, running around and like getting a little crew and also the structure of it. I didn't have like the biggest structure, so that gave me like a sense of like, again, tribe, structure. And I was also in that trying to fight the acting thing a little bit and trying to like go against it and not listen to that sort of voice that was telling me to go and try acting.
Right.
And even in the cadets, they were like, do you want to play the victim that we can do our medical training on?
Oh, that's interesting.
And so I would be like, yep, all right, yeah. And I'd lay on the floor whilst all of these cadets like tried to understand what was going on with me. And I'd be like, pretending to like, do all this stuff, and I'm injured, I've got concussion, and so I was still acting even like, in that world, and I couldn't kind of escape it. A teacher, an acting teacher, said to me, he was like, don't join the military, don't do that. Like you can probably be an actor if you wanted to. Right,
you can exercise some of the same things that you're gaining from this in a different way.
Yeah. He was like, why are you doing this? Why would you not go and try to be an actor? And I was like, well, it's hard, isn't it? Like no one really does it, and I didn't really know anyone properly doing it. So I think, it's so important having that person that instills a bit of confidence in you.
Sure.
Right? And that like leads you into it in a way that's like, you're good, go and do it. Like, don't doubt it.
That's all you need,
Yeah.
Because it feels like a bit of a secret for so long. It's like, I know, you also have a desire you're a director as well, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I thought I was gonna, you know, before I started acting, I was also a runner and stuff on music videos and
Yeah.
shorts, and I was writing plays. So I kind of thought I was maybe gonna do something in that world, and I've always wanted to direct, and I've always tried to do it, but I kind of quietly just did that work in the background whilst I was also climbing the acting ladder, you know, because I think it's very difficult to be perceived as a few different things. So it's, you know, it's perhaps easier to try and
I mean,
like,
are you a good, like, because I'm not a good multitasker. I mean, is that something, is part of your brain, like, can you focus on being an actor
so.
while also?
It feels like two very different sides of me. Like when I'm acting, I like need to be guided, and I want to be directed, and I succumb to whatever world I step into, and that's
Yes.
why I love it, because I'm like surrendering and I'm completely, you know, out of control. But directing was, you know, I made a film this year for the first time, and a long film for the first time, and that was something that gave me a new perspective on acting as well, and a whole new sort of sensitivity and understanding for it. But wait, so did you finish college? Did you do?
I did.
Yeah.
I finished college. I spent probably, I mean, 3 out of the 4 years trying to leave as much as I could.
Right.
But I had no money, you know.
Right.
I mean, did you have any? Did you go to school? Did you go to?
No, I left school very young.
I think what it did for me is, I mean, I was truly I think I was terrible at it, and it gave me an opportunity to really exercise my demons in a way that's not documented for the world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, I think everybody has stuff that they look back on. They're like, oh my God. But yes, I mean, school, it offered me, I don't know, to operate and test yourself within a bubble and then kind of go out into the world was pretty invaluable. Tell me about Babygirl, and tell me about how it kind of came to you.
I think I have power over you because I could make one call and you lose everything.
So I'd seen Helena Rain, the director's first film, Instinct, which is incredible if you haven't seen it. And I think, you know, I urge people to go see that as well, because it's a really nuanced, beautiful film. And then the script for Babygirl got sent to me. You know, when you read something that sort of challenges you a little bit with the read, right? And that kind of confuses you in the sense of like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, you know? And so in a way I'm like, I don't know, like if I can do this, because, out of fear of not doing something bad. So you tend to go to that place of like, oh, I don't think I'm right, or like, to protect yourself maybe. But the script came in and it was so beautifully written, and Helena and I had a really long, lovely chat about everything, and I knew that Nicole was on board, which was, again, another intimidating factor. Like, her body of work is insanely.
So she was attached to it already.
Yeah, she was attached. Yeah, she was attached, which is always nice to read it with that in mind, right?
Oh yeah.
When you get like
it's like a little gift. Yeah.
And then just spent a long time talking about it. I had the pleasure of the luxury of signing up to it quite a long time before it shot. So we did a lot of chatting about it and uncovering stuff, and then we were there. But it's one of those things where you look back and you're very grateful to have been, you know, included in it.
Yeah. So what about you? Because you said you read it and you were like, there was kind of a fear around, like, I don't know what this is, or if I'm right for it. Like, what did that, like, how did that manifest? Like, what does that look like?
Like maybe because it was so nuanced.
Yeah.
And you're looking for that. You're looking for it, and you're like, I don't know where to start with this, because the material's so good, and there's many dances. You know, the interesting thing about the script and the scenes is that there's this constant like performance that they're doing. Yeah. And there's so much humor in it as well. Like
No, it's
kind of funny to be in a purest form.
No, I was laughing through it. It's really. Yeah. But I think you and of course Nicole, like, do such a good job of finding that humor in it. You know, it's like, you know, there's something childlike about it in a way.
Yeah.
How'd you get that dog to calm down?
I gave it a cookie.
You always have cookies on you?
It's really two people like playing and trying things out. And I think it needs that, because there's a lot of tension in it as well. And there's a lot of tension around, you know, the idea of like restraint and lack of liberation.
Right.
And so you need that humour to sort of undercut it and find a way in that is truthful as well. So I
mean,
think that was what's difficult.
Yeah. I mean, you guys ride that line, so it's such a thin line. But like, I always wondered, like, because this is something that I have a hard time with, and like understanding, like going into it with a sense of tone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
what's the tone?
What's the tone? And I guess tone is a word that is kind of, maybe that's a little bit too generic to use for the feeling. You know, what's the world that I'm walking into in a way? Is that something that you and Nicole like talked about together? Did you guys talk a lot before shooting, or was it kind of like, were you thrown into it and
We
you
spoke
guys
a
went?
lot. I think Nicole and I didn't have a ton of time together.
Right.
And in a way, I think that was quite helpful, actually.
Yeah.
To not fully, you know, understand each other and like know each other well. Like there was an element of mystery between us that was helpful, actually. And I think Helena knew that. But Helena and I spoke a lot, and I know that Helena and Nicole spoke a lot.
Yes.
But tone, I always find like I'm wading around trying to figure it out, because you don't really know until, you know, you're doing it, I think, and then you start to get guidance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's just like, you know, it doesn't feel concrete. It's just like little shapes come in or something, like things come into your vision, and you're like, oh right, you're kind of putting it together.
Yeah.
It's a strange. Sometimes it happens when you're done. You know, you're like, oh fuck, that was it.
How did you guys figure that out? Because there's a very specific tone to Queer. And your performance is beautiful in it, and it's hard to do because you don't have a ton of dialogue.
Right.
Which I think is most difficult. What people don't realise is to try and convey so much without words. But, you know, how much did you guys speak about tone and the entry into that film?
Well, it's funny hearing you talk about it, because it's really so similar.
Yeah.
It is. You know, Luca and I talked a lot, and then I didn't meet Daniel until we were in New York, probably a month before we shot, and I met him at the table read. And so it was kind of the meeting, and then we just jumped into reading it out loud. Luca really does a good job of kind of fully painting a picture for you. We also shot it in Rome at Cinecittà, walking in these sound stages like this, where it's all like, everything's on stage. 95% of it's on stage. Wow. So you kind of walk in, you're in, you know, these incredible clothes.
Where was the rest of it? Actually, in
like
the
a
jungle?
week in Sicily on the coast.
The jungle?
No, the jungle was in a back lot.
No.
Yeah. They built.
No.
Dude, they brought all these. Like Luca was like, I want these plants, and they brought it in, like I don't know how many thousands of pounds of whatever of dirt, and they built a jungle.
Well, so they're real plants?
Yeah.
No
I think some were real. I think some were fake.
Just say they're real.
They're all real. Everything's real.
Wow.
But yeah, so that
wild.
I think that like
Cinecittà Studios is like
it's legendary.
Famous.
No, you can feel like the ghosts of Fellini.
And
like,
Antonioni.
this is wild.
Yeah.
I think walking into that, like the setting of it, was like I knew I was walking into this kind of elevated type of feel in terms of tone, and it's also not a direct. You know, it's not a direct period piece. It's this kind of like Mexico City and South America within the imagination of William S. Burroughs, you know.
Oh, there's something very absurd about it.
It's,
Very,
it's
very
incredibly
elevated.
surreal and absurd.
But how did you understand that? From the way Luca spoke about it, or from just?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, in conversations with Luca.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very specific about how he wanted the world to feel.
Did he send you stuff?
Yeah, some visual references, some photography. There's these paintings by Francis Bacon that we looked at, and kind of two lovers, and yeah. So there were all these kind of visual kind of references. So that was helpful. But yeah, then Daniel, I think kind of a similar situation. You know, Daniel and I, there wasn't a lot of conversation about how we wanted it to feel, or you know, the dirty word, the chemistry between the two of us. It was just kind of exercising it and going for it.
So there wasn't a ton of rehearsal.
There was a lot of talking. You know, we did like
chatting,
2 weeks prior, just table reads. Will you be around?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Do you like rehearsing?
I do.
You do?
I love, what about you?
I don't.
For some things.
Yeah, I get a bit scared of it.
Oh, you do?
I
Why?
get shy.
Yeah?
I get shy of like, I have this thing of like, oh, I just do it on the day.
I'll just, yeah,
I'll just do it when I'm there.
I'll save,
You know,
I'll
like,
save it for...
And then I wouldn't ever be like, I'm saving it for the take, but I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, I can't fully let go until I'm on doing the thing, and there's
something
weird little,
Yeah, there's something like when you hear like action or the
Yeah.
cameras rolling, you're like, okay.
yeah, you can kind of hide behind it a little more.
Yeah. You as a performer in general, but specifically in this film, in Babygirl, you have such a presence always about you, and I think there's a stillness and confidence and danger about like the way you present yourself on screen always. And so I look at you on screen like, dude, this guy's the coolest cucumber in the fucking, you know?
No, I'm not, man. I'm a mess.
Yeah. Do you get
you.
nervous on set? Do you get nervous working?
I used
Are
to
you
get
scared, Harris?
Are you terrified of life?
Are you terrified of everything?
I'm going to sound arrogant if I sit here and say I don't, but I don't so much anymore.
Right.
To be truthful, I
Yeah.
used to get really nervous, but I think once you understand and once you feel safe with a crew,
Yeah.
and you're in a rhythm, it all feels like everyone's on the same path to get the same thing, and so the fear for me goes. If it's a good environment, the fear goes for me because I
Right.
feel like comfortable and I can make a fool of myself. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
That's why they call it Baked Alaska, I imagine.
You know, I got an idea for a new dish.
This one specifically, though, was pretty terrible. I mean, my like heart was racing on the first day, and
Right.
I'm usually pretty good about. I like having like a lot of pressure and I like kind of working within that type of environment.
Why?
It's like I don't know. I think it's kind of like when you have some expectations or there's something it's a feeling of like there's nothing to lose. Who cares?
Yeah.
I love kind of working within a pressure cooker in a way.
Yeah.
But dude, this one, like first day, I was like,
I bet.
like first take, like my heart is like pounding through my chest. Like I'm not gonna be able to do this.
We've got Daniel, like formidable force,
know.
and Luca also like formidable force.
Yeah.
As a,
And
so
to
a lot
like come in and be like, they're gonna know, man. I'm like first day, they're gonna be
You're gonna
like,
find me
this is
out."
not the right. What did we do? We made a mistake.
Let me ask you about Daniel Craig, because past James Bond, obviously legendary, slew of incredible work, established actor, been working for years.
Yeah.
Impressive in everything he does. What's that like? Scary, I imagine, but also.
Yeah, I'm sure, not too dissimilar to meeting Nicole as well. I'll talk about Nicole as well, but like, yeah, but then, of course you go in with all these, I think he's one of our great actors, truly.
Yeah.
And, you go in and you're like, oh, I wonder what he's like. And I think within it's like anyone in this business, you meet them in the first 5 minutes, all that kind of sheds away.
Yeah.
And Daniel's, it's amazing how open and inviting he is, and he looks at you as an equal, and he's ready to share his own insecurities and fears about what we're about to do.
All right.
And so you're like, oh great, he's in it with me. And then kind of getting like a master class on set.
You got a drink, huh? Yeah. Just a cup of water, man.
Did you
every
ask
day.
him about James Bond?
He kind of just started talking about it.
Did he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be
was
able to help
very
myself.
willing to share. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a lot of insider trading on that, which is
Great.
cool. Tell me about how Nicole works and what it was like. I mean, it's Nicole Kidman.
I know, yeah. It's interesting because, like you say, when you have to work with someone in this capacity, it's not like normal life where you're spending all your time getting to know each other on a normal basis.
Yeah.
Because there is an element of like, okay, we're doing these characters and we're far away from who we are, and we're trying to like somewhat stay in that, and so there is this weird sort of held back thing where you can't fully let go, and I think that helps as well.
I think it does.
Because there's an element of healthy tension between the characters and between the people. But she's got such a unique quality, and I've noticed this with a few other actors that I've worked with, is that like clearly an immense work ethic, in order to get to the places that she does, but also very fun and can create a very like easy environment on set.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is so important, because if everything is like stiff and everyone's scared of them,
Yeah.
I think the whole, you know, tone shifts. And she's fun. She knows how to enjoy it, and she's got a great timing, and she's brave with what she does. Like, she's just unafraid, and I think that shows in her work. I think that shows in this film. She's impressive.
How did it start?
I see myself as a.
Power-hungry personality?
You think that's what I am?
I think you like to be told what to do. Sorry.
It was really cool to like be that close to it, you know, and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
every day get to kind of like observe it as well. You have to remember not to just like watch as well, and like.
This is crazy. You're like, we had the same experience.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
really strange, because I've said this in the past, 'cause quite literally, I mean, I'm like, we're in a take, or, you know, we're working together, and I'm like watching this
Yeah.
beautifully crafted, prepared performance,
Yeah.
and but also like free of all inhibit, just going. I'm like, oh, this is pure.
Yeah.
Like, what has he tapped into? Like, and I'm like, fuck, like,
Yeah.
let me lock back in.
Remember to, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus. It was such a rush. It really was.
One scene I love so much was the ayahuasca ceremony.
Mm.
Well, not ceremony, but that whole sequence. How long did it take to do that? Like, was that one day kind of thing?
It was over the course of a night.
Oh, really?
But the rehearsals for that the dance sequence
Yeah.
of it all, that was like months.
Really?
Yeah. That was a great way to Daniel and I getting to know each other. It was just we worked with these great choreographers, Paul Lightfoot and Saul Leon, and they came in and just worked it every day. Not every day, but we would meet like once a week, like throughout the course of filming, and just run this dance.
Do you like dancing?
No, I'm terrible at it.
I don't believe that.
What about your dancing, huh?
Is it-
You're a dancer.
I love to dance.
Yes,
Quite frankly,
I know
Drew.
this about you.
Drew, I'm a, you know.
I
I'm a natural dancer.
had heard, you know, I have many mutual friends, and they all say,
Yeah.
Harris, he's a
That's
dancer.
what people say.
Yeah, the first thing people
First
say
thing,
about
yeah,
you.
dancer. Natural mover.
No, we both were not dancers, and
No.
getting
But Daniel's
into that.
a good dancer, isn't he? I've
He
seen
is
him move.
he is a good dancer. He can move his
I've
body.
seen him move. I've seen him at the clubs.
Yeah. Yeah. But we share. We're not flexible in any way, so that was painful. But like going through that together was like,
Yeah.
I think helpful. I think the most memorable scene in your film, and I think it's because it's so beautifully kind of crafted by both of you, is the hotel room.
Mm. The expensive hotel or the
Yeah.
cheap motel?
The cheap
The
motel.
cheap one. Yeah.
For me, that was like when everything kind of just clicked.
Mm.
Did you guys talk about that, or is it a situation where you go in and you start trying things?
Yeah, we kind of just did it. I think it was like a 6.5 page scene, which is always nice to just like
Yeah.
go
Have some room.
But you know, it was so much about the in and out of it.
Yeah.
You know, like the performative element of like
Yeah.
what that means to do that with another person. And we just try stuff. Again, like I think you have to really like fall a few
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
to try stuff. Otherwise you get like, I think there's a tendency with me especially, which I'm trying to work on, is like, I don't know, I just try and do it the safe, or like, and then you just, all right, I'm gonna just be an idiot for a second.
Yeah.
And really like that. And Nicole's like that. She'll just try it, and she'll just,
Daniel's the same way.
yeah, she'll just throw it out there, and I love it. And,
Yeah.
and then it makes you be like, all right, I'll do the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, they take the lead, and you're like, okay,
Yes.
great. Now,
Yeah.
Like you have permission to
Yeah.
make a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
in a way. I
Yeah.
think I'm the same way too. I mean, do you prepare a lot? Do you have an idea of what you want to do on the day? Like do you have kind of this script work in mind, and like are you kind of coming in with ideas about, you know, kind of specificity in what you're doing?
Yeah, I do prep a lot. I try and prep a lot, and then I try and let go of it pretty close to the day. I think is useful for me. Otherwise, I get too caught up in stuff. But it changes so much, right? You get there, and then everything you thought about the scene or what you thought you was going to do is
It's
like,
completely
this is a
different.
great idea, you know, or like, I'm going to try this, and then it's like, it's crap, and then it's rubbish. So, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm the same.
Yeah.
I think I'm just finding out we're the same person, really, and we've gone through the same experiences.
yeah, great pairing, really.
Yeah, long lost cousins or something.
Whose fucking chewing gum is that?
Yeah.
Real talk. That Adrian? Dirty bastard.
Yeah, is Adrian?
Adrian Brody, you filthy
of a
motherfucker. How dare he? I'm gonna
God.
get on the phone to him.
Keep it.
It's
It's
gotta
Adrian's.
be, you know? You win one Oscar,
God.
I think you can do anything.
Amazing.